Great to hear that, Jim. Well, the reason for my call is that I saw your home came off the market, and I wanted to find out if it's still available or you actually sold it, Jim.
Oh, we I wish we sold it. We didn't sell it. And I mean, at this point, I don't know. We're not gonna probably put it on the back of the market for a while. I think my wife and I decided to stay.
I understand, Jim. Well, since you already had that house on the market, I guess you're still interested on selling it. What will motivate you to put it on the market again?
Uh, I don't know. Um, it was really tough trying to get the kids out of the house for showings. So I think we might try to do it ourselves or just wait a while until the kids are kind of back in school and we have time to show the house because it didn't work out too well.
I didn't get that about the kids, actually.
Okay, did cut out. Let me see if I can shut some
What
programs.
did you say? Yeah, what did you say, Jim, about the kids?
Okay, so showing the house, it's really tough with the kids and they're out of school. So I think what we're gonna do is they're on their winter break. We're gonna wait a couple weeks at least, until it's easier for them to even show the house if we are gonna put it back on the market. But we're probably gonna wait.
Okay, I understand, Jim. Actually, you might be busy between your job and taking care of the family, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know these type of things. If you actually want to get it sold as soon as possible, I bet you already considered that it will require full time. Then that's what you mean that it might be difficult with taking care of the kids at the same time, right?
Yeah, I mean, the last agent, I told her the same thing. I said it's really hard to get showing set up, and she would give me an hour or two before people came, and I just couldn't get people in the house.
Correct. Yeah, it will be difficult since you're actually still living in the house and you have the kids around. You
Yeah,
need to take care. I mean, we need to show the house, right?
yeah, exactly. I mean,
That's how it sells.
that was a big issue. So I
So
don't.
how did tell me how did you actually manage the few times maybe that you needed to show the house? What did you do?
Well, I told the agent to give me at least a day ahead of time. She never showed the house, which upset me. But when she had other agents come to see the house, when we could show it, to at least give us a couple hours beforehand to clean it up and get it ready so we can get out. But most of the time, she would text me, and then people would want to come over in an hour, and I told her, I can't do that. So, we basically we're not dealing with her anymore because that was really upsetting. And I told her we need 24 hours to show the house.
Correct. I understand you need to have those considerations, right? Because you need to organize.
Yeah.
And so you said prepare. Then yeah, of course, I understand you. Now, have you already thought, about where you're gonna be moving? You already have a place where you're gonna be moving, or you're gonna wait until you actually sell the house?
No, we have a few areas picked out that my wife and I like, but we definitely need to sell this house because the money we need to purchase the other one we have to make on this one. Otherwise, we can't financially swing that. We can't do two mortgages. So we need to sell this one first, basically.
Correct. Yeah, I totally understand that also. Although we need to consider the fact that if the kids are already in school, that might be also difficult, right? So right now is
Oh yeah,
actually the best time to be moving, right?
yeah, you're right. I mean, it's gonna be. God, I didn't even think about that with the kids going back. Yeah, because we need to sell in the next couple months because they're going back, and I definitely don't want to switch their schools. That we're not going to do that. We'd rent
Yeah,
before we
that would be
switch their schools.
You're thinking about renting a place?
Uh, well, no, I mean, but if we had to, we would instead of switching the kids out of school. We'd rather sell it and rent a place, move in there temporarily and not have to switch my kids' school. But if we can find a place and sell this one before they go back, that would be the best case. But if that doesn't happen, I guess we could rent, but that's even more money we would waste and not have our own place.
Yes, you're right on that, Jim. And actually, for what I understand, and I agree with you, is main thing here is that you want to keep um, your family lifestyle, right? You don't want to have them change anything because of the of selling the home, right? You still
Yeah,
want some other place where they will keep the same lifestyle, right? The same school, and nothing to interrupt you from sharing with your family while you need to be selling the place, right?
yeah. I mean, the other agent, she didn't understand that my kids, they can't get ready like my wife and I can. Teenagers, n- n- they don't work fast. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
So,
you cannot even change the rooms, right? Because that was gonna take a lot of time to clean those rooms.
yeah, my daughter Heather, sometimes I'll be done in 10 minutes and it's 2 hours. So, we just need time to show the house. And, the next agent has to understand that.
Well, Jim?
Yes.
Okay, somebody disconnected,
Oops.
I think. Okay, so yes, I understand and I agree with you, Jim. Actually, we do consider all those conditions when we help our sellers. So let me tell you what I understand is that as sooner as possible will be the best thing because we want to avoid until school time and doing all this process when your kids are already starting school. So the sooner the better without complicating your family schedule, right?
Yeah, it would have to happen before we go to school. Otherwise, we're going to have to rent. I'd, I'd much rather not.
Okay, but definitely, if we can help you with that, Jim, if we can let you what you need, we can get you where you need to go as soon as possible, right? So nobody needs to be suffering between the school and switching homes, right? Then would you agree to actually list a place with us so you can get this done as soon as possible?
Uh, I mean, I guess we consider it. Um, like I said, we're not really trying to do anything right now. With the kids, and they're all home for the next 2 3 weeks at least. So, um, we're probably gonna wait. But I appreciate you asking. But I just for now, I don't think that would be ideal.
Okay, so you think that maybe waiting on later in about 3 months when they're already on school, you will be thinking about taking all this uh, all this process about selling and doing the open house so potential buyers can actually visit you. You think that will be working then in around 3 months for you?
I don't know. I mean, it's probably gonna be crazy because then hockey starts and cheerleading's back in practice, and um, I don't know. I mean, we might just have to do it ourselves because you know we don't have the time to be doing it, but we can at least try to save some money if we're not gonna have the time. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, we're probably just gonna have to wait.
Yes, Jim, I understand that point and the concern also about saving a little bit of money and maybe taking more time to think and do things right. But my question is if you're really prepared to endure the opportunity cost of not selling your home in the next 3 months, let's say, when you are actually going to, right now, you're projecting to start that process from today until maybe 3 months. Now, the reality is we don't know what the market will be like in 6 months, even, right? So but we know exactly the highest price that we can sell your home today.
Hmm.
In addition, the same area where you want to buy may also be appreciated in value. We can help you to search for that place, right? And you could miss out on your dream home if you don't do it right now. Doesn't it make sense to consider taking advantage of the market today and not risking the shift for that moves?
I didn't even think about that. Um, well, I mean, I guess we're staying local, so no one's ever put it that way. So what you're saying is, if we have to sell this now, we can get into a place and take advantage of the same market. Okay. Um, I don't know. I mean, it all sounds very good. Um, it sounds like
Yes.
it sounds
You
like you know
also
what you're
mentioned.
doing, but I still don't know. I'd have to talk. I'd have to at least talk with my spouse about it.
Oh, okay, I understand. If she is one of the decision makers, of course, you want to consider them so everybody agrees, right?
Hmm.
Is she's part of all decision making, right?
Since we were married.
Fantastic. And if you were to both meet with agents in the future, would that be on a weekend or a weekday anyway?
Um, well, honestly, with the kids' practices on the weekends, probably the best time for both of us would be during the week in the evening after work. She's a nurse, so she gets off at 3, but I'm usually later. I don't get out until yeah, at least 5:36. So, I mean, do you work later in the evenings during the week? Like what's your schedule?
Well, we can definitely do a reschedule for you if you agree to actually, if you have time, both of you for tomorrow, maybe around 5:30. That sounds great for you.
Well, tomorrow's awful quick. I don't think I need time to talk to her about that. But
Okay,
possibly next week or even the week after would
correct.
be
Yes,
good.
we will need to go next week, right? Because the weekends you need to spend it, and we need to spend it with family, right? So, well, we can rearrange this and go maybe to next week. Will it be okay for you then on Tuesday at 5:30? I have an opening.
Uh, actually, um, yeah, I'm getting the signal that that's okay from the wife. So, um, I, I'll probably be there around 6, but she'll be here, and I'm assuming you need to see the property. So maybe she can show you and probably be home right after that. But yeah, that would be that. I guess that's fine.
Fantastic, Jim. Then we will. I will pencil you up for Tuesday. We say at 5:30, around 6. Right? We will get started with your spouse so we can have a quick look on your home. We will be able to do also evaluation just to make sure that we have the right uh, price for that when we arrive there. Actually, for Tuesday, we're gonna have our specialist to go visit you. His name is Jim, and he knows better your neighborhood and the market more than anybody else. So he will be able to give you that. He will be able to give you that. Wait, I forgot that word. that well, if I'm not gonna be looking for it, I will say he will be able to give you that idea of the right price for the
There you go.
well on this market. But I'm trying to find you how it actually says.
No biggie.
I don't find it, but you get it right. I'm gonna find it later. The pros no, that's not prospect. No, it's
Evaluation? Is that
it's an approximate. It's
approximate? Okay.
approximate. I haven't found it yet, but it's an approximate value of what your home will be on the market, right? So it will sell. Um, so it will sell on this market. So in that case, if you wish, No, to call him back just to verify, right? Because he already said that he has green light from his spouse, right?
Yeah, in that case, Diego, if you guys ever get an appointment and you don't know my schedule or for whoever the agent you're setting the appointment for, like let's say the Google Calendar's not working, you can't even see it. Go ahead and set the appointment. And if we have to, appointments take priority over any other activity that we have as an agent, unless we have to do something. Like sometimes you have to go to a closing. That's fine, but don't feel uncomfortable setting it and just being like, "Hey, I couldn't find your schedule. Whatever, this happened quickly. This guy said yes. I got a yes from the spouse. You're going on that appointment."
Okay.
So go ahead and set it. And
You're going because you're going.
correct, yeah, because we want to get paid. So we'll go on that appointment. Um, Now, I will say this though, Diego. What you could do is, let's say if it's like super late, let's say the only time he can meet, weekends are out of the picture. He can only meet during the weekday, and between him and his wife, the earliest they can meet is like 8 p.m. What you could say is, "Oh gosh, Mr. Seller, I really appreciate, your schedule. The listing specialist who really focuses in on that area, and he's really our I say listing specialist, but you get the whole team with us, and he's our expert for that area. So I really want you to meet with him. I know for certain that I'd have to check with him because that's a little bit later in the evening, and that would be taking time away from his family. But we definitely want to meet with you. So let me go ahead and do this. Let's pencil you in for that time. Um, I'll just, if you can just give me your email address, I'll just double check with him. And then if there's a change or we have to reschedule it, I'll definitely call you. And then you can have my contact information should you need to do the same thing between now and then. So let's just go ahead and put you on the calendar because I definitely want to make sure we catch you. Um, because like I said, we're specialists and this is what we do. So we're here to help. Let's do it for 8. And if we need to change anything, we'll have each other's contact information. But typically I don't foresee that being a problem. But just in case, I do have to check with Jim, and they'll usually be pretty
Mhm.
understanding. If it's pretty late or if it's like super early or whatever the case might be, um, that's kind of that. So
There's something, Jim, that we should always like have uh, on our um, on our words as a well, something that we should have available always to say is how you mentioned that we are here to help, right? Because that's something that most likely will be granting you um, their favor, right? I mean,
yeah,
like they will be trusting you more
yeah,
when with those approaches, right?
right. And that's even something that
It's something short, but I think it might be helping giving you the difference on winning them, right?
yeah. And honestly, like I was telling Marco previously, um, in the conversation that we were having before, where you don't want to sound robotic. You don't want to sound like you're reading a script. You don't really care. So having those little moments where the seller says something on the phone and you can insert that kind of like, hey, I'm also a human being. And this is what I do every day. Whether you're making the phone calls or you're the agent or you're just an assistant, whatever it is the fact that at the end of the day, really, the more money we make is directly in proportion to how many people we can help. So they need to understand that, if you take away all the real estate jargon and all the stuff that needs to happen, really and truly, our goal is to help them. And we don't see a dime unless we do everything that we tell you we're going to do. And for them, it literally costs nothing. Like they don't have any other than maybe a little bit of time and maybe some effort if they're doing some cleaning. They literally have nothing sunk into the house. So little moments like that, Diego, I always try to add kind of what I call like the human element, where it's like, oh, I totally get that, 8 p.m., that's late. You guys are probably going to miss dinner. Um, I don't want to interrupt, but we definitely want to help you. And let me do this. I just have to check with Jim because that's awful. That's also, um, our listing specialist, and that's the gentleman you're going to actually have come out meet you at the home because he's really that expert in your area. And we want to make sure when we help you, we have someone who's really and truly a pro in that area. So you're going to get the best person from our team. I typically know that his schedule stops around 6 or 7. So let me just call him and verify that. But I don't want to miss the opportunity to help you. So let's put you on the calendar. And on our end, if we need to make any changes, we'll definitely reach back out to you. And then also, too, I mean, if you talk to your spouse and maybe something comes up between now and then, I'll email you our contact information. And then if we need to change it, we certainly can do that. But we definitely want to make sure we can help you get this home sold and get you out of the situation you're in right now. So instead of being like, great, when's a good time for us to meet? Weekdays or weekends? Oh, great, 8 p.m. That's great. Great, great, great. You kind of sound a little robotic. But yeah, definitely. I would, again, too, that plays back into, um, I know we talked about it too, Diego, agreeing massively, which you're doing an awesome job, by the way. Reiterating what I'm saying, repeating it, and being like, oh, I totally get that. I know where you're coming from. Empathy, right? That's what builds connection, is empathy. I know how crappy that feels. I was there too. Now here's a way to help you get out of that situation. That's exactly the definition of empathy. Sympathy is going, that sucks. So you need to sell your house still? Hold on a minute. I don't want to deal with you typically because you didn't you didn't take that moment to say, hey, you actually care, you get the situation I'm in right now. So really, the better human being you are, the better you're going to be at sales, quite frankly. So
Yeah.
be a better person and start caring because number one, you start caring, your bonuses are going to start caring, your bank account's going to start changing, and it'll come across on the phone at much, much better. So I know that was a little bit of a rant, but we're big on that. And that's really going to help your conversion rate, Diego. Absolutely agree. So um, definitely add those little touches here and there when you can.
Okay.
Cool. Well, you pretty much got the appointment. um, I think it's safe to say that we were just going to set a time. Um, so looking back on that conversation, Diego, things you did well, things that we can improve on, and I would just say, really, that was a great job. That was an honest to goodness improvement, total 180 from even where you were last week. So, um, which was kind of still struggling with what to say. And that was great because even though I was a fake seller, I actually felt like you cared. I really did because I really did. As a human being, I felt like you were like making good connection points. Oh, I get it. You're busy with your family. Listen, that's cool. Um, you know, where are you going? I mean, you kind of asked me all those questions that were important, and you dug a little bit deeper, and that was great. So I think things that
Uh,
you did,
Jim,
yes, Marco,
that's what's kind of hard for me right now, I guess.
yeah,
Picturing you that you're not, picturing you that you're not a client,
right,
customer. But he did a really good job, though.
yeah. No, I mean,
Thank.
and honestly, Marco, it is different. Like when you get on the phone, there are some situations where we role play where that you may never encounter that. But if you do it just once, you're going to be glad we had a training on it because that might be, just one time where you can convert an appointment and who knows what can come from that. Just that one time doing training, that person might be worth multiple transactions a year and you just got a ton of money and bonuses off that person because, you know, you paid attention and you know what you're doing. So, um, I know it's hard because I'm not a real seller, but most of the stuff I try to throw at you are things I come across that I have problems with or I know is going to happen pretty frequently. You're going to get a ton of people on the phone who are simply going to try to get you off the phone because they're too busy, they don't have time, they're at work, whatever the case might be, cool. Immediately pick up on that. In this case, this guy was in a tough situation, and Diego kind of pulled it out of me to be like, well, you know, why is that tough, really? Like, what specifically is tough about you and your situation? Oh, you got kids, they're all over the place, your house is too small, you're trying to get into a different area, but the kid's school doesn't match up. That's fantastic because now you're actually learning specifically what that person's situation is. And then you can use that to organically close them. Because when you go in for the closing, just in sales in general, you either try to push people away from fear. So, you use fear to kind of get them away from something bad that's happening. Or if their motivation is strong enough, you get them to a place of pleasure. So, for example, and you can kind of use both really, but when you go for the closing, when you reinstate where they are, because remember, Diego, you did a good job of this too, identifying their point A and their point B and how we can help them get from point A to point B. So, Jim, it sounds like your kids need to be in school and your house is small and you just got a lot of stuff going on and you have like no time. So, you're trying to get to a place where you do have some space, things are less cluttered, um, the kids are in a better school system. Who knows? Maybe having a better school system will give them more after school activities so they're not driving you crazy. Whatever it is, identify a point of either fear or a point of pleasure that you can use to help close them. So, for example, okay, that's your point A. You're trying to get away from all this stuff. Most likely, you're not going to have any more time. So, realistically, you got teenagers. You probably are not going to have a better time there. But I can get you into a better home. I can get your kids into a better school system. I can get you and your wife a space in the house where you don't have to see your kids 24/7 and the TV's on and you can't even come home from work and relax. If I can get you that, what would that do for you? How much better of your attitude would you have as an improvement when you do spend time with your kids and your family? Oh, Jesus, I don't know. Exactly. I'm not kidding. That's why we need to get together because I can really help you make that happen. In fact, that's what our whole team, our entire living is based on us being really good at doing that. So for 15 minutes, I can sit down and talk to you what needs to happen to get you from where you are right now to a much better space where you and your wife can have your own place that you can recuperate and have your downtime and your kids can all be happy and really improve your entire family situation. So when would be a good time for us to sit down and talk about that? Is that usually something we can do in the evenings or on the weekends? What works better for you? That type of closing versus great. So when can we get together for 15 minutes because I don't know anything about you? It ain't gonna happen. You're gonna close way more people if you genuinely and truly know what their problem is. They're struggling with something. We need to figure it out. That's really our job, is we're question askers. So that's why most of your script, by the way, is questions. So it's not talking. When you talk, it's simply to address something, build rapport, establish professionalism and authority, and then move right back to a question. So keep all that good stuff in mind when you're doing this. And Marco, definitely, it's hard to do in role play. Role play is not really specific about, you know, building something that you're never going to use. I want you guys to really understand how these scripts are going to help you no matter who you encounter. And then as you're making calls, then we can start getting more specific in our training and be like, all right, Jim, I keep coming across people who pick up the phone, they never have enough time. What do I say? I need to be more brief. I'm just not converting people. Awesome. Cool. Let's help you do that. I'm getting people who I can't convert for whatever reason, but they say these things. Great, cool. Let's move into that. So use these scripts now to really, and group training, to understand the process and pick up on maybe something that I say or somebody else is saying that you like, that you can use and internalize. And then that way, when you're on the phones, it's going to come across really natural, it's organic. You can mix your personality with it, and you'll connect better with people. And then that way, your closings will come up, and the appointments that we go on are going to be a lot better too. Because if you go on an appointment, you set an appointment with someone you've got rapport with, we go on the appointment, we call them back. You can call them back and say, hey, how'd it go with Jim? Great. I'm assuming he knocked it out of the park, right? You guys are going to work with us? Great. Yeah, he just informed me you guys are going to be putting the house in the market. Listen, I really appreciate everything that we talked about. We can't wait to help you get out of your house and into a place where you and your wife have some time. If you know anybody else who's either looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, can you promise that you'd send them my way? Oh, yeah, sure, Diego. That sounds good. Listen, I really appreciate it. Jim was great. We're getting the stage out next week. That sounds awesome. Just remember, anything real estate, you call me. Is that cool? Can I give you my number directly? Awesome. I'm telling you, if you guys make connections with people, you'll never have an empty pipeline. Period. You just won't. You'll always be growing. And then every person you turn into is another person that may give you a referral that you already worked on. And then all you got to do is maintain them over time. And with some of our team systems, we either take that out so you don't have to worry about it, or we'll train you how to do that really great. So, does that help? Does that make sense for you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Just for me.
Cool. Marco, you still there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's do one
Jim,
more. Yeah.
Jim, just a curiosity about that 8 o'clock
Yeah.
meeting, the 8 p.m. So in a way, like we want to make them, you want to make sure that they realize that, we're going that extra mile to meet that late because we do have compromise, like they do.
Mm-hmm.
So how well they see how we are committed, right,
Mm-hmm.
to our clients.
Yeah.
Is that
And
the idea we want to give them?
it is, to a degree. Now, what I'll do with them, and this depends on your agent. Diego, for example, if you're working with Jen's about the hardest working person I think I know. I mean, she literally will do anything almost. If it's legally, moral, and ethically good, she'll do it to get business. It's crazy. She's a very good worker. And like for example, that one appointment that you sent over that she got, I mean, she called that person like right off the bat. She was right eating lunch. Wasn't very convenient, but she did it. She got that appointment. So, she's awesome. Now, what I would say is Jen's level of service doesn't differ than my level of service or anybody else that's affiliated with the team. What matters is our schedules are just different. For example, if you have an agent who has kids, like Lindsay has a small girl, sometimes she literally cannot do between 4 and 5 because she's got to pick her kid up. Well, if Jen doesn't have a kid, then that really doesn't matter, but there might be another commitment. So each agent has a different schedule. When we hook you guys up with an agent or multiple agents as you build your pipeline, you'll know. And then that way, when it comes time to close and we're talking about scheduling an appointment, if it's my schedule, for example, I don't meet people before 12. I do not. Now, if you said, oh, I'm sorry, Jim can't meet you before 12, depending on the seller, that may or may not make them upset because you just told them no, but you didn't really provide enough of a reason for them to understand why you said no. So, like I said, one of our mantras with the team, clarity is power. You know what? Jim typically doesn't meet with people before 12 because remember I told you we proactively prospect for buyers every day for your property? Well, that's really Jim's time on his schedule where he's making his phone calls. Because like I said, the entire team prospects for you. And that's a huge difference. What really sets us apart and gets our home sold very quickly. So in respect for Jim not to, you know, break his promise with other clients we have. And the same thing's going to go for you. You know, once we earn your business, that's his time to really call people to sell your house. And so I definitely wouldn't want to change that. But I do want to make it very clear that we're here to serve you. So I just wanted to let you know, if I can't have Jim meet you at 8 in the morning, it's because that's his phone call time to get property sold for our sellers. And we take that commitment very seriously. So is there another time that might work better for us? Let's see if we can make a win-win. How does Saturday afternoon sound? Are you free there as well? Oh, well, I guess Saturday would be okay. Okay, what time would work better for you? It looks like Jim's schedule has a 2 p.m. opening. Would that be okay before it gets dark? Oh, sure. Okay. And so instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't meet during that time," or "Oh, is there another time?" Don't miss that opportunity to connect with that person. And that's how I look at it when I call people. Every time someone says something, is there something I can say that would be kind of going the extra mile, even though if I can't necessarily satisfy what they're asking for? I'm sorry, I can't do that. And I want to make this happen, but here's why I can't do it. That's my time to proactively prospect for buyers. And like I said, that's not a marketing tactic. We take that very seriously because this is a huge commitment. And I'm sure you want an agent who tells you the truth and sticks to their commitments, correct? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So, just so we can keep our promise to you and also all of our sellers, is there another time that might be better for you? Maybe in the afternoon. I know his schedule permits anything after 12. So, how does 4 p.m. sound? And so you're saying no, but in a very different way. Cool? David,
Yes.
does that kind of answer your question, David?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I try to be as thorough as I can, so it seems like I talk a lot. I want to give you guys as much knowledge as possible to really help you succeed, though. Then that way you can carry it over and just convert. But you guys have any other questions real quick?
Um, in my end, not right now.
Okay. Marco, do you have anything that you had a question on maybe, or you want me to review from previously we didn't touch?
No, I'm still learning.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
listening.
Diego, same thing. Do you have anything specific that's a challenge on the phone? And it could be anything. Well, why aren't people picking up? Or, how do I connect better? Whatever it might be. So,
Yes. Well, most of it is first you actually need to do like a very good first impression, right? So they will actually pay attention
mhm.
to the opportunity, right? Because they're as soon as they hear like this is another agent, right? They already kind of block their minds, right? And usually they just stop paying attention at that point when they don't want anything to do with it, right? And another thing is, for example, today in the morning there was a call on which they are interested on selling. They just want to have like 1 or 2 weeks right now available before starting all that craziness.
Okay.
But they have already kind of the same thing that we're doing, right? Somebody already have done a follow up on them, so they actually are committed to them, right? And they said, "Yeah, sounds good, but actually, I already talked from another agent from Keller Williams, right?
Mhm.
And he has been doing a follow up on me, and I already told him I give my word, and that when I actually am ready in 1 or 2 weeks from now, then I'm gonna be calling him. So I'm really not interested on having another offer because I know it sounds good, but I already gave my word, right? So
Gotcha.
that
Okay.
means that we need to
Well,
follow up on them, right? And
yeah.
convince them.
Diego, let's role play that real quick. So let's say that you're the seller and you just said that. Diego, I totally understand. Honestly, I think it's great how loyal you are. And in fact, if that agent's genuinely calling you and following you up, he might actually be the other top 20% that we typically market your home to. And I probably know who it is. Do you know who that agent is, by the way, so I can just make note of it? Um, should you choose to work with them over us, we might have a buyer for you. So who are you meeting with on that day? Oh, well, it's Tammy. Okay, great. Oh, Tammy's an awesome agent. You'll be in good hands. Let me ask you this though, Mr. Seller. And like I said, this is fantastic that you stick to your commitments. I wish there were more people like you like that. That's pretty awesome. And I want you to know that we're super loyal to our people. And if that's another Keller Williams agent, I'm not sure if you know about this about our company, but every time one of our Keller Williams agents' offices sells a property, our company's so awesome, we actually all contribute to the profits. So whether that gentleman or Tammy, whether Tammy helps you or we help you, we're actually both helping each other succeed. So honestly, Mr. Seller, I know you kind of feel obligated to that agent. Honestly, you don't owe anything to them. You don't owe anything to us, but you absolutely owe it to yourself to choose the best person. And that's definitely a case by case basis. And I know that maybe we didn't reach out to you before that person, but I would like the opportunity to at least show you what we have. And then that way, if Tammy's still the best person for the job, awesome. But um, really, I wanted to ask for the opportunity to also have an interview with us. So, when is your appointment with Tammy? Are you meeting with her? You said on Thursday. What time is she coming over to meet with you? She's at 4 p.m. Okay, awesome. Well, what if we can come at 5? We'd like to see if we can come after Tammy. Then that way you can get us all in at the same day, ask us any questions, and if it sounds good, hopefully we can help you get your home sold either with Tammy or myself. So, when's a good time for us to do that? Is 5 p.m. good, Diego? Now, role play. You can
Okay,
be whatever
five and a
type of
half.
seller.
No, just one question there because you, okay, Phil. First of all, like the feeling that he gives is kind of what you're actually telling at the end. That, like, I mean, I'm already working with you guys, so there's no reason for the offer, right? Because I'm already working with another agent from Keller Williams. Kind of,
Gotcha.
why would you be calling if I'm already working with you guys, right?
Now,
Uh,
I totally understand that, Diego. In fact, let me ask you. I mean, do you have a written agreement with Tammy yet?
sorry,
Do you have a written agreement with Tammy yet?
if I have.
Yeah. Did you guys sign any paperwork yet?
No paperwork yet. I'm actually gonna be deciding to start this maybe in around two weeks. Definitely, I'm gonna be doing it with him.
Okay. Awesome. And I know it sounds like you're already kind of committed to Tammy, but if you guys don't have a written agreement yet, it's really still your choice. And honestly, I really appreciate the fact that you're being loyal. But like I said, you really don't owe it to anybody other than yourself to choose who's the best fit for your property is. And honestly, Diego, we sell so many houses each year, and our team genuinely does so many different things that other agents, maybe their model doesn't fit them correctly. So whether you use Tammy or us, I think it's great that you're using a Keller Williams agent. That's the best company. But let me ask you this then, Diego. Do you think the company sells the house or is it the agent who sells the house?
Mm, well, it must be the agent,
Correct, right?
of the company, right?
Correct, yeah. It's important that the agents align with the correct company. I think that's really to the benefit of you because, for example, Keller Williams does the most marketing than any other real estate company. But in fact, you are correct. It is the agent who indeed sells the home. And Tammy's a fantastic agent. Um, but Tammy's also an individual agent. And there's definitely some things that we do differently because we're a team. And most agents, honestly, Diego, they do three P's of real estate. they put the sign in the yard, they put the home on the MLS, and they pray someone else sells it. Our team does the fourth P and the fifth P, which is we proactively prospect for buyers for your home every day. And unlike an individual agent, we have multiple people on our team that you get for the price of the same commission. And what we do is that allows us as individuals to expose your home to many, many more people. And in fact, that's why our team sells more than anybody else in this area. So Tammy's a great fit for some people who would like to choose an individual agent. But let me ask you, Mr. Seller, if we can get your home sold just as fast or faster and for more money, would you can at least consider interviewing us and hearing what a team does differently and all the other benefits to you?
Sounds in if we spend more money, that
Diego?
will assure that the house gets sold, I guess. But I already gave my word, and I mean he's already expecting to be doing the listing of this house, to be
Sure.
listing this property, right?
Sure. And honestly, you know what most people end up doing, Diego, is because like most expireds, they usually end up working with us, is we would be happy to honor your loyalty. And Tammy and I, we're good friends. We're, obviously we're the same company. And because we understand that selling the house as fast as possible will profit both of us, and it really helps you. And Tammy and I understand that we're in the business of helping people. And the reason why most people choose us is because we do that at a very fast pace. So I totally get your commitment, but just like if we had an offer, Mr. Seller, I wouldn't consider it unless it was in writing. So, for you guys to not have a relationship in writing yet, I think it's really wise and in your best interest to see what we do differently to get that job done. So if that would be okay, we'd love to just come right after Tammy or before Tammy on Thursday. So would 5 p.m. be a good time for you?
Yes, I mean I have no problem if you want to come to the meeting. After all, I understand that you know Tammy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell me about Tammy? Because I haven't actually met her. I mean, it's just through the phone, but
Sure.
how is she?
Yeah, and honestly, Mr. Seller, what we don't like doing is talking negatively about people. And we think everybody tries as hard as they can. And honestly, the minimum standard for any agent is to get the home sold, right? So I'm sure every agent tries as best as they can. What's different is every agent has a different approach. And what I would like to focus on is showing you how our approach differs from anybody else, whether it's Tammy or another team or an agent or company. And that way you can make the smartest decision for you because you owe it to yourself to get the most amount of money in the least amount of time for your home. And what I don't want to happen is for you to be such a good person where your loyalty may get you a weaker agent at a weaker moment. So what we can do, honestly, Diego, let's go ahead and set that appointment because it's definitely in your best interest to at least hear what we have to say with no obligation. And if you choose to work with us, because you already have that relationship with Tammy, I would be happy to give her a call, let her know you're choosing to work with us. And really, because Tammy's a professional, I'm going to ask her if she can bring us a buyer. So how does that sound?
Well, if you can handle Tammy, then no problem for me.
Sure, yeah,
But
because
don't want her to think that I don't honor my word, right?
no, and honestly, Diego, I think that's probably the coolest thing that we can ask in the clients. And actually, that's why we need to get together because we would never disrespect Tammy. And I really appreciate the fact that you don't want to do that to her either. And most sellers, what we do as a courtesy is we allow us to, let Tammy know that as professionals, um, we can still have the opportunity to work together because Tammy can definitely bring us a buyer. And then that way, we can all work together. So how does that sound? That's a win-win for everybody.
Well, as long as I get to to honor my word with Tammy, and if you can also get part of the business, there's no problem with me. I just need the home to be sold.
Perfect. Yeah, and we'd be happy to include Tammy in that as well. So that's great, Diego. Let's do this then. Let's book it for 3 p.m. Then that way, you can get both of us that day. And if what we say makes sense, and we can get you what you want in the time frame you want, would you be considering listing it with us when we come out there at 3 p.m. tomorrow?
Well, I mean, you will be working with Tammy, right? So I will just keep doing the same, the same process, right? It's just that now I'm just not working with one lady, Tammy, right? But I'm gonna be working with more, correct? You're gonna
Correct.
be making that arrangement with Tammy, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. So if you can let us work with Tammy on how we can find a buyer for your house, we can definitely get to work on getting your home sold and proactively prospecting for the buyer. So whether Tammy has that buyer or another agent or one of our contacts has that buyer, after our meeting, if everything that we say makes sense, you can get us to work immediately, and we'll be happy to handle all those relationships to get your property sold as fast as possible. So that sounds great, Diego. I think that we're going to be a great fit for each other. I'm going to have Jim schedule at 3 p.m. come meet you. And like I said, we're part of a team. So you get all of us for the price of one. Jim's our specialist. He's also the one who can handle the relationship with Tammy. And you guys can sit down and talk at 3 and, see what we need to do to get the home sold at this point. How does that sound?
Well, that sounds great for me then.
Okay, perfect.
So I'll see you both then, Jim and Tammy, right? Best friends forever.
Sounds good, Diego. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll see you at 3 p.m.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So I wait.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to meeting you too, guys.
Okay. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Okay, take care.
All right. Bye-bye. So, Diego, you're still under the impression that we're both meeting?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
You're still under the impression that we're both meeting?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I wouldn't hang up with you unless that was actually very clear. So,
Okay.
um,
No, so my question there is because, right now you're gonna be working with Tammy, or you're gonna be taking the business separately from Tammy. I mean, at the end, we're offering really working together with her, even if we don't meet, even if you don't know who she is, or you really know everybody.
no, I mean, we definitely don't know every person, but we do know we mostly do know all the other top agents. So, um, but we never want to talk bad about people. So, whether
That's what I ask you. What can you tell me about Tammy to
right,
see,
who knows?
how far we can get that conversation
Right.
about talking from another agent, right?
Yeah, and
If they
that's
ask you
what
something, and if I don't know them, because I won't know them, right?
right, and that's the thing, honestly, Diego, in maintaining that control, I have no problem telling people that's not what we're talking about. So, I won't say that blatantly, but in that case, well, we definitely don't want to talk about people, and we don't like gossip in our office, and we don't want to make sure we're doing that out in the market because we truly are professionals. And honestly, Diego, I know that you definitely can get to know Tammy, and the best way to do that is to meet with her. But I know you're trying to get your home sold, correct? And we need to focus on what we need to do to get you from your point A to point B, and that's where we specialize in helping people. So I think it's to your benefit to meet with us first. If what we have to say makes sense and you feel comfortable with it, we'd love the chance to work with you. And at least if you choose not to do that, then you'll know exactly what our team does differently and then make the best decision for you. So how about we meet at 3 p.m. on Thursday? And I will always steer them back to what I want to talk about. So we can talk in person about all that kind of stuff. Now, your job is not to have a conversation about how we're going to work with different agents. Your job is to set the appointment, ask for a referral, or build rapport. So, if that happens, Diego, we can, and I do say this quite frequently, I totally appreciate your loyalty. In fact, I'd love to see more of that. And, you definitely sound like someone that we would love to work with. So we'd like to show you how we operate. And then that way, if you make that decision, um, we can at least be a great fit for each other. So what we typically do, because most expireds choose to list with us, is if what we say makes sense and you would like to proceed with us, as a professional courtesy, we can call Tammy and let her know that you decided to work with us, still in that Keller Williams company, which is great because Tammy and I will profit from uh, helping each other. But she can definitely bring us the buyer, and we can focus on getting you from point A to point B, because that's truly why I was calling you today, is to focus on getting your home sold. So let's talk about that at 3 p.m.
Well, yeah, I like the idea because I just that's the problem that I got during that call, right? How to handle the that he knows somebody that is from the company and we're from the same company.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's talking about, and like I don't want him to feel like we're trying to steal him to steal the business from within the same company, right?
Yeah.
Because he feels like he's the same thing.
And actually, that is a listing agent objection. Well, we already have appointments with other agents, and they're also from Keller Williams. That's literally an objection. So that's where I pulled mine out of, because I have to know that if I go on the appointment, or if I'm calling to confirm the appointment, Diego, and they go, oh well, actually, can we change your time because I'm meeting with John at the same company at 2. Oh, okay. um, we need to know what to say to that. So, and this is the truth, and this is actually, I'm not sure if you guys know this, and definitely we'll give you more information on Keller Williams as a company in general. But it honestly, I mean, I'm biased, clearly, because I work with this company, but it really is the best real estate company. And what I try to tell people is, you know, listen, Diego, I totally get it. In fact, the coolest thing about this company is, unlike any other company where all the agents are competing to be the top salesperson and to get the plaque, and they're all in competition. With our company, we're all in cooperation. And the reason that that happens is because with Keller Williams, we all contribute to the profit of the company and we split it with our agents. So, in fact, whether you choose Tammy or another Keller Williams agent or myself, as a company, it doesn't matter because you're getting all the benefits from the company itself. But honestly and truly, let me ask you, do you believe that the companies sell the properties, or is it the actual agent who sells the properties? And that's where I get them off that question, because everybody knows it's the agent. Is the company paying to specifically market your property? No. Is the company making phone calls every day to market your property? No. Does the company have an expertise in negotiation and contract? No. All of those benefits come specifically from the agent. So it's your choice. Just like if you are a buyer, you can get whatever lender in the world you want. It's absolutely your choice. However, there are the best, and then there's everybody else. So who you want to use, totally cool. I don't care if it's Tammy or not. At least you're in good hands if you don't choose us and go with Tammy, because I know she's properly trained as a Keller Williams agent. The difference is in the approach and how we get your home sold. That's what we want to talk to you about. Because at the end of the day, you've already chosen a great company. Now it's time to choose a great agent. I don't want you to get stuck with the weaker agent at a weak moment because you didn't have all the information that you needed. So when's a good time for us to sit down and talk about that? Is tomorrow at 3 p.m. a good time still? And I would literally not get off the phone until he either hung up on me or I got the appointment. If he hung up on me, I'd call him back and say, hey, I'm sorry, we just lost connection. Anyway, what I was talking about is, I'll go right into it. I'm telling you, if someone like that, Diego, they're close, they've already said yes, and they're going to meet another Keller Williams agent, call them back and do what we just did. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, and do you understand it?
Yes, I get the idea.
Okay.
Right, because you're not actually like fighting. You don't want to be fighting, right, against
Correct.
who's better
No.
uh, directly between agents with him, but you're just telling them first. The first example you gave was the the team, right? That makes a difference. And second, that not just because it's the same company, it doesn't mean that he's gonna be getting really the same thing because it does vary from agent to agent, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So kind of some points that you need to go to explain them, but without being too rude, maybe, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why that script design. And that's why that script's
That's the thing.
designed.
Yeah.
Okay.